Hey guys, welcome. Here I am, Alex, in Spittle Pond, Bermuda. What you're looking behind me is a brackish water pond. It's a nature reserve that we have in Bermuda. Some beautiful, we've got some ducks in the water right now, so it's a really nice nature reserve. There's a few things to look at. There's some caves, really fun thing. A lot of tourists like to come down here and see what Bermuda would have looked like when the pirates came or whatever. Yeah. So, what do I have on the docket for you today? What do I have to talk to you about today? Today, I think I found a fun subject to talk about. And we're going to be talking about problems. But it's when we over-fix a problem, or we go above and beyond to fix a problem. Made me smile because it reminded me of a time when I first started fixing computers. When I very first started fixing computers and I got one of my first jobs. Client called me up and he said, "Hey Alex, my computer won't turn on." I said, "Okay, does any lights come on? Any lights whatsoever?" He told me, no lights come on. It's dead to the world." I said, "All right, I'll be right there." I'm all excited. My first job, I'm going to it. I get there. Yep, the computer's dead. So I grab it, I pack it all up in my car, bring it home, start taking it apart. I know what the problem is. No lights. I learned this in school. No lights means that you got a power supply problem. No problem. I told the client, so I started fixing it, started changing the power supply on it. Put it all back together, all nice and neat. Plugged it in. Voila, it lit up like a Christmas tree. No problem. Packed it back in the car, getting ready to go back to the client. Went underneath his desk, plugged it all back in. Go ahead, turn it on. Dead to the world. I said, I can't believe this. The computer's dead to the world. I'm all embarrassed now. One of my first jobs, and the computer doesn't even turn on. It turned on in my house. It doesn't turn on at the job site. So, okay, I had to pull the computer back out. I ran to my car and I got a plug, right? And then I plugged it into the wall. Computer came on. I said, oh my gosh, I don't believe this. Well, went back, unplugged this cord, put in my cord, I plugged it in, computer comes on. Turns out to be that the computer didn't need a new power supply, as I presumed it did. The power cord had gone wrong. The power cord was damaged. I guess it must have got a cord underneath the desk, or the chair must have ran it over, whatever. But the power cord was gone and not the power supply. Now that wasn't, it's like, ugh. So I didn't charge him for the labor, just charged him for the parts. But I learned a lesson. Don't try to go for the complicated problem right off the bat. Try to deal it with the most simple way possible. So today's story is exactly about this, but listen to it, pay attention. I like the story, and that's why when I heard it, I said, cool, nice story to tell. Now this story is about a bus driver. Now this bus driver, he loves his job. He enjoys his job as a bus driver. And he goes to his first bus stop, people get on, people get off. Next bus, people get on, people get off. So around the third or fourth bus stop, this guy must be big, burly, strong guy, 6'5", buff, and he's a smaller guy, so he's like, impressive. And he comes on the bus and he says, "Big Johnny doesn't pay." He goes to the back and he sits down. Bus driver says, "Hey, I ain't gonna mess with Big Johnny, boy. Jeez, your boy's a little bit big and I'm a little bit on the small, squirmy side." Now this kept going on. Every time Johnny came on, he said, "Big Johnny doesn't pay." Oh, wow. Guess what? He said, "Well, I better not mess with Big Johnny." But this kept going on and on, month after month. And he said, "Okay, enough of this. I gotta do something." So he went, and for the next year, he worked out, pumped iron, did kung fu, did karate, did judo, did all kinds of things. He was all ready to deal with Johnny. So finally, the day came. I'm going to deal with Big Johnny. So he was all ready. He felt good. He He's worked out for a whole year. Today I'm going to confront him. So finally Johnny was getting on the bus again. He said, Big Johnny doesn't pay. And the bus drivers looked at him. Why? And Johnny looked at him. Because Johnny has a bus pass. And he goes to the back and sits down. You see what I mean? How can we overthink the problems? How can we not just ask the simple questions? Why do we always go for these complicated solutions? I remember when I was doing web designing, gosh, I was killing myself writing code. I mean, I was trying to figure this thing out, and it took me, I swear it must have been like 3 or 4 weeks just to figure out these little codes, and I mean, I couldn't find errors, and I was going into forums after forum trying to figure it out. And a friend of mine that I should have asked, I don't know, I should have asked him the first day, I guess, he just pointed out that, you know, that that email address you got there is written wrong. It's not Gmail, it's just Gmail. I had 2 G's on Gmail. And I spent 3 weeks trying to figure this thing out. And you know, somebody simple pointed it out to me. And I'm like, why is this email not working? It's not sending it to my address. It's not working. I know the code is right. I've written it 3 times. And I'm spending weeks on this now, you know. I mean, of course, I mean, I take some breaks, but I mean, I got back to it. I said, let me go through this again. And then somebody pointed out, like I said, it was not Gmail. It was just Gmail. So guys, when we're doing our online business, we're going to get into some difficulties. We're going to get into some things that might jam us up, might get us stuck a little bit. And you know, whether it's dealing with the Aweber account or the GVO account, or whether it's trying to deal with these Optium pages that you're trying to make, or whether you're trying to find these solutions, don't overthink them. Don't try to find a solution that is overly over the top. Let's not get like the Coyote. That's what I call the Coyote syndrome. You guys remember the Roadrunner? Jeez. That Coyote came up with some solutions sometimes. I mean, he came up with rockets. He came out with, what was that snow machine that he put in the back of himself to make snow and skis? Come on, guys. Let's not come up with these Coyote kind of answers to our problems. We want to have problem solving at the most basic level. Let's try to find the simplest solutions. Let's try to solve it as quickly as we can. Remember, there's people out there who can actually solve it for you. You know, so you may not need to spend the time that you are spending on it. You know, remember, your time is valuable. You know, and you don't want to spend it too much on technicalities and on trying to solve problems. You want to get to your problems as quickly as you can. So whether you use a forum or you use whatever you use it and solve your problem as quickly as you can. Now, on that note, well, I think that's the end of my nature reserve day. I got flies, all kinds of things flying. I'm trying to keep my composure as I'm talking to you guys. I got flies hitting me all over the place. So anyway, on that note, I want to catch you on the next video diary. See ya.